Welcome to boring history for sleep, where the past unfolds slowly, like waves lapping at a quiet shore, inviting you to relax and drift into the rhythm of ancient lives. Tonight, we journey to ancient Greece, a land of olive groves, marble temples, and city-states humming with ambition and struggle. Imagine yourself there, not as a hero or philosopher, but as an ordinary soul caught in the daily grind of a world both beautiful and unforgiving. This is a story of toil, triumphs, and forgotten wonders, told to soothe your mind and ease you toward rest. Let the weight of today slip away as we step into the sunlit hills and bustling ports of a time long gone. Settle in, breathe deeply, and let the steady cadence of history carry you forward. Our tale begins with the life of an olive presser, a humble figure whose labor fed the heart of Greek society. From there, we'll wander through the lives of kings, the whispers of oracles, and the echoes of a civilization that still shapes our world. Close your eyes, if you wish, and let the story unfold. Imagine yourself in the hills of Attica, around 500 BC, where the air is thick with the scent of dust and wild thyme. You are an olive presser, one of countless laborers whose work fuels the lifeblood of ancient Greece. Olive oil, your days begin before dawn, when the stars still cling to the sky, and the coolness of night lingers on the rocky slopes. You rise from a simple pallet of straw in your mud brick home, a low, cramped space shared with your family. The walls are rough, patched with clay, and the floor is packed earth, cool under your bare feet. A small clay lamp flickers, casting shadows as you pull on a coarse linen tunic, already stained with the greenish smear of last season's olives. Your breakfast is meager, a chunk of barley bread, chewed slowly, perhaps dipped in a bit of watered wine or a smear of oil if you're lucky. There's no time to linger. The olive groves await, a short walk through fields dotted with gnarled trees, their silver-green leaves catching the first light. These trees are ancient, older than your grandfather's grandfather, their twisted trunks a testament to the land's end. But for you, they mean work endless, back-breaking work. The harvest season is in full swing, and your task is to gather and press the olives into the oil that lights lamps, anoints athletes, and graces the tables of the wealthy. You join a small crew of laborers, men and women with weathered hands, moving from tree to tree. You spread woven mats beneath the branches, then climb a rickety wooden ladder to shake the boughs or beat them gently with sticks. Olives patter onto the mats like a soft rain. They are hard, green skins glinting in the sun. Your fingers grow sore from plucking stragglers, and sweat stings your eyes as the day warms. The air hums with the chatter of your companions, but it's a quiet rhythm, punctuated by the rustle of leaves and the occasional bray of a donkey hauling baskets. By midday, your back aches, and your tunic clings to your skin, damp with sweat. You pause briefly under a tree's shade, sharing a water skin and a handful of dried figs with the others. The sun is merciless, baking the earth until it cracks, and the cicada's drone fills the air like a lullaby. But rest is short. The olives must be pressed while fresh, so you haul heavy baskets to the press, a stone's throw from the grove. The press is a sturdy affair, a wide, shallow basin carved from limestone, paired with a massive wooden beam anchored by ropes and weights. You and your crew pile the olives into the basin, their sharp, bitter scent rising as you tread them underfoot, crushing the fruit into a pulpy mash. Now comes the true labor. You load the pulp into woven sacks, stacking them under the beam. With rhythmic heaves, you and the others pull ropes to lower the beam, squeezing the sacks until oil begins to trickle out, golden and sluggish, into clay jars below. The work is grueling. Your shoulders burn, and the ropes bite into your palms. The beam creaks, the sacks groan, and the oil flows slowly, drop by precious drop. Hours pass, and your body settles into a weary cadence, each motion blending into the next. The sun dips lower, painting the hills in hues of amber and rose, but you press on, knowing the landlord expects his charan more. Life as an olive presser is a constant struggle, not just against the land but against the weight of obligation. Most of your oil goes to the landowner, a wealthy citizen who owns the groves and the press. You're a tenant farmer, bound to his estate, and your family's survival depends on meeting his quotas. A bad harvest, a broken press, or a sudden drought could mean hunger or debt, and debt could chain you to the land for years. The city of Athens, with its gleaming temples and lively agora, feels a world away, though it's only a day's walk. You've heard of philosophers debating under shaded colonnades, but your world is here, among the trees, where the rhythm of labor shapes your days. Yet, there's a quiet beauty in this life, a simplicity that binds you to the land. The olives you press will light homes, anoint the sacred statues of Athena, and travel in amphorae to distant shores. Your work, though humble, feeds the pulse of Greece. As night falls, you trudge home, the stars now bright above the hills. Your family gathers around a small hearth, sharing a pot of lentil stew. The fire's glow softening the room's stark edges. You lie down, muscle sore but mind easing, lulled by the distant hoot of an owl and the steady breath of those beside you. Tomorrow, the groves will call again, and you'll rise to meet them, as you always have. As the olive groves of Attica fade into the quiet of night, let your mind drift southward to the rugged hills of Laconia, where a different rhythm pulses, one of discipline, honor, and sacrifice. Here, in the city-state of Sparta, a man named Leonidas carved his name into the annals of history, not with the tools of a farmer, but with the spear and shield of a warrior. His story, woven into the tapestry of ancient Greece, is one of defiance against overwhelming odds, a tale that echoes through time yet remains grounded in the dust and sweat of a single, fateful stand. Settle deeper into your rest, and imagine yourself in Sparta, where the air carries the tang of pine and the weight of duty. Leonidas, born around 540 BCE, was no ordinary man, though his early life was shaped by the same austere traditions that molded every Spartan male. Picture a boy, not yet 7, taken from his mother's hearth to the Agorge, Sparta's brutal training system. The Agorge was no gentle school. It was a crucible, designed to forge warriors from flesh and will. Young Leonidas slept on reeds. He gathered himself, his bed a thin mat in a barracks open to the chill of mountain nights. His meals were sparse black broth, a grim mix of pork, vinegar, and blood, eaten in communal messes where hunger was a constant companion. The trainers, grizzled veterans, taught him to endure pain, to wield a spear with precision, and to move as one with his phalanx, a wall of shields locked tight against any foe. The Spartan ideal was clear: strength, loyalty, and brevity of speech. Even as a prince of the Agiad dynasty, Leonidas was spared no hardship, his royal blood no shield against the lash of discipline. The air in Sparta was different from the olive-scented hills of Attica. It was sharp, tinged with the smoke of forges where bronze was hammered into armor, and the faint musk of leather from shields stacked in barracks. The Eurotas River wound through the valley, its waters glinting under a sun that seemed to harden the land itself. Leonidas grew tall and broad, his body sculpted by years of running across rocky trails, wrestling in dusty arenas, and drilling in the heat of summer. Yet his mind was honed as keenly as his spear. He learned the tales of his ancestors, of Sparta's victories over Messenia, and of the oracle at Delphi, whose cryptic words guided kings. By his 20s, he was a man of few words, his gaze steady, his presence a quiet command. The Spartans valued action over rhetoric, and Leonidas embodied this, his life a testament to the rhythm of duty. But Leonidas was not destined to rule young. His path to the throne was winding, marked by the quirks of Spartan succession. His half-brother, Cleomenes I, held the crown first, a fiery king whose schemes and madness shaped Sparta's fortunes. Imagine Leonidas in his 30s, a seasoned warrior, serving as a commander while Cleomenes grappled with rivals and omens. The Agora of Sparta, a simple square of packed earth, buzzed with whispers of Cleomenes' erratic rule, his defiance of Athens, his feuds with the second Spartan kingdom. When Cleomenes died in 490 BCE, under murky circumstances, Leonidas, now in his 50s, ascended as king. His coronation was no lavish affair. Picture a solemn ritual at the shrine of Lycurgus, Sparta's legendary lawgiver, where Leonidas swore oaths under the watchful eyes of elders, his bronze armor gleaming in torchlight. As King Leonidas faced Greece on the brink, the Persian Empire, under Xerxes' eye, loomed like a gathering storm. By 480 BCE, word reached Sparta of a vast army crossing the Hellespont, its numbers so great that the dust of their march clouded the sky. The oracle at Delphi, nestled in the misty slopes of Mount Parnassus, delivered a grim prophecy. Sparta would lose a king, or its city would fall. Imagine Leonidas standing before the Ephors, Sparta's council of elders, their faces carved with worry. The air was heavy with the scent of incense and the weight of decision. Leonidas, his hair streaked with grey, chose to lead a small force to Thermopylae, a narrow pass where mountains met the sea. It was a choke point, a place where numbers meant less than courage. He selected 300 Spartans, each a father with sons to carry their line, ensuring Sparta's future even if they fell. The march to Thermopylae was a journey through a Greece alive with contrasts. Picture the column of Spartans, their red cloaks vivid against the olive-dotted hills, moving in disciplined silence. They passed through Boeotia, where farmers paused in their fields, and joined allies some 7,000 Greeks, including Thebans and Thespians. The path itself was a stark beauty, sheer cliffs on one side, the Molian Gulf's waves lapping on the other, the air salty and sharp. Leonidas positioned his men at the hot gates, named for nearby sulfur springs that filled the air with a faint, acrid temps. The Spartans built a low wall of stones, a simple barrier, and waited. The rhythm of their lives drill, eat rest continued, even as Persian scouts appeared, their armor glinting in the distance. When Xerxes' army arrived, its scale was staggering. Imagine the ground trembling under the march of thousands Persian infantry, Median archers, and the elite immortals, their spears tipped with silver. The first day's battle was a clash of bronze and will. The Spartans, shields locked, thrust their spears in unison, their phalanx a living fortress. The Persians fell in waves, their numbers useless in the narrow pass. Leonidas fought at the front, his voice steady, urging his men to hold. The air grew thick with dust and the metallic scent of blood, but the Greeks stood firm. At night, by flickering campfires, they ate their black broth, combed their hair a Spartan ritual before battle, and slept under the stars, the sea's murmur a constant companion. The second day mirrored the first, with Persian assaults breaking against Greek resolve. But betrayal shifted the tide. A local, Ephialtes, revealed a mountain path to Xerxes, allowing the Persians to flank the pass. Leonidas learned of the encirclement at dawn, the news delivered by a breathless scout. The decision was swift. Most allies would retreat, but Leonidas and his 300 Spartans, joined by 700 Thespians and others, would stay. Imagine him addressing his men, his words brief, his tone calm, as the sun rose over the cliffs. They knew death awaited, yet they polished their shields, the bronze catching the light like a mirror. The final stand was a storm of chaos, yet the Spartans fought with precision. Picture the phalanx, tightening, spears splintering, shields dented but unyielding. The battlefield became a tableau of fallen warriors, the ground slick with sacrifice. Leonidas fell, struck by arrows, but his men fought to protect his body, their loyalty unbroken. By midday, the last Greeks perished, their stand a defiance that echoed beyond the pass. The Persians won Thermopylae, but the delay cost them dearly, galvanizing Greece for later victories at Salamis and Plataea. Leonidas' story is not just one of battle but of a life shaped by Sparta's unyielding code. His sacrifice, though grim, was a spark that lit Greece's resolve. As you rest, imagine his final moments not with the clash of swords, but with the quiet certainty of duty fulfilled, the sea's rhythm a distant lullaby. His name lingers, carved not in stone but in the memory of a people who valued honor above all. The tale of Leonidas leads us now to a different enigma, one not of war but of ingenuity. In the waters off a small Greek island, a discovery waits, a device that defies time itself, whispering secrets of the Greek mind. From the dust and honor of Thermopylae, let your mind drift to the open sea, where the waters of the Aegean lap against the rocky island of It's here, in the early 20th century, that a discovery emerged from the depths, a relic of ancient Greece that whispers of a brilliance almost lost to time. Imagine yourself aboard a wooden boat, the air salty and sharp, as divers plunge into the blue, seeking treasures from a sunken ship. Among the marble statues and bronze coins, they find something peculiar, a corroded lump of bronze, its surface encrusted with the sea's embrace. This is the Antikythera mechanism, a device so enigmatic it challenges our understanding of the Greek world. Settle deeper, and let its mystery unfold, a quiet puzzle to soothe your thoughts. The year is around 1901, but the mechanism itself hails from the 2nd century BC, a time when Greek city-states buzzed with ideas, from Athens philosophers to Alexandria scholars. Picture the wreck, resting 60 meters below the surface, its timbers long decayed, cradling treasures bound for Rome. The divers, their breath held in primitive helmets, haul the bronze lump to the surface, unaware of its significance. In Athens museums, scholars puzzled over it, noting its gear's delicate toothed wheels. Unlike anything from antiquity, the metal is pitted, green with age, yet the gears suggest a precision that feels strangely modern. Imagine the faint creak of those wheels, once turning smoothly, now frozen by centuries underwater. As decades pass, technology unveils the mechanism's secrets. X-rays reveal over 30 gears, inscribed with tiny Greek letters, some barely legible. The device, about the size of a small box, was a marvel of engineering, its bronze plates fitted with dials and pointers. Scholars now believe it was an astronomical calculator, tracking the movements of the sun, moon, and planets. Picture a Greek astronomer, perhaps in Rhodes, turning its crank under a lamp's flicker, the gears clicking softly as they predict an eclipse or the phases of the moon. The air in his workshop smells of olive oil and wax, the night outside alive with stars. The mechanism's dials, etched with zodiac signs, align with celestial rhythms, a mechanical mirror of the heavens. But who crafted this wonder, and why? The mechanism's complexity suggests a mind like Archimedes or Hipparchus, astronomers whose works shaped Hellenistic science. Imagine a workshop in Syracuse or Alexandria, where bronze is cast and gears are cut with tools of startling precision. The craftsman, his hands steady, labors by lamplight, the air heavy with the temps of metal and sweat. Was the mechanism a tool for scholars, a teaching aid for students, or a luxury for wealthy patrons? Some speculate it adorned a philosopher's study, its dials a conversation piece for debates on fate and the cosmos. Others wonder if it guided sailors, though its fragility suggests it stayed ashore, safe from the sea's wrath. The mystery deepens with the wreck itself. The ship, likely a Roman merchant vessel, carried treasures from Greece's eastern isles, perhaps looted during Rome's conquests. Why was the mechanism aboard? Was it a gift for an emperor, or the prized possession of a fleeing scholar? The sea offers no answers, its currents having scattered the ship's story across the ocean floor. The mechanism's inscriptions mention Rhodes, a hub of astronomy, but its origins remain elusive, a whisper of a lost tradition. Picture the device in its prime, its bronze gleaming, its gears turning with a soft, rhythmic hum, a testament to Greek ingenuity in an age of marble and myth. Yet, the Antikythera mechanism is more than a machine. It's a window into a world where science and wonder intertwine. The Greeks, who wove tales of gods steering the stars, also sought to measure the heavens with tools of bronze and intellect. As you rest, imagine the mechanism's quiet clicks, a sound that bridged earth and sky, now silenced but not forgotten. Its discovery reminds us that even in antiquity, the human mind reached for the stars, crafting tools to grasp the ingenuity of the mechanism leads us now to a different sphere of Greek life, one of privilege and power, where the elite shaped the destiny of city-states like Athens. From the Cease Mysteries, let your mind wander to the heart of Athens, around 450 BCE, where the city pulses with ambition and ideas. Imagine yourself not as a laborer, but as an Athenian aristocrat, one of the elite whose wealth and influence steer the course of democracy. Your world is one of marble colonnades, shaded courtyards, and the constant hum of political intrigue. Yet even here, life is bound by duty and danger. Picture the Acropolis rising above the city, its temples gleaming white against a cobalt sky, as you navigate a life of privilege tempered by expectation. Let this scene unfold slowly, its details a gentle guide to rest. Your home is a grand affair, a two-story villa in the Kerameikos district, its walls plastered and painted with scenes of gods and heroes. The air inside is cool, scented with myrrh from a bronze brazier, and the floors are mosaic, their patterns swirling under your sandaled feet. You rise late, after a night of wine and debate, your slaves silent figures from Thrace or Scythia preparing your morning meal. The table holds fresh bread, figs, and a bowl of creamy cheese drizzled with honey, paired with watered wine in a silver cup. The meal is leisurely, taken in a courtyard where a fountain trickles, its sound mingling with the coo of doves perched in an olive tree. As an aristocrat, your wealth comes from land-olive groves and vineyards worked by tenants, like the presser we met earlier. Your estates, scattered across Attica, yield oil and wine, traded in amphorae, stamped with your seal. But wealth alone does not define you. Status demands action. By mid-morning you don a fine woolen himation, its folds draped carefully, and head to the agora, Athens' bustling heart. The air here is alive with smells roasting meat, fresh fish, and the sharp tang of vinegar from stalls. Merchants call out, their voices blending with the clatter of carts and the laughter of children. You pause to inspect a shipment of pottery, running your fingers over a kylex's smooth glaze. But your true purpose is politics. The agora is a stage for Athens' democracy, and as an aristocrat, you are both player and director. You join a knot of men near the Stoa Poikle, their beards grey or dyed, debating the latest proposal for the assembly. The topic today is a fleet for Sicily, a risky venture, some say, but you see opportunity in trade routes. Your voice carries weight, honed by years of rhetoric lessons, though you tread carefully. Athens' democracy is fickle, and even elites risk ostracism. The air grows warm, the sun climbing, and you retreat to a shaded bench, sipping from a waterskin as a scribe reads a decree aloud. Lunch is taken at a symposium, a private gathering in a friend's andron, the men's dining room. Reclining on cushioned couches, you share plates of grilled octopus, lentils spiced with cumin, and cakes of sesame and honey. A flute girl plays softly, her notes weaving through discussions of philosophy and war. You quote Solon, Athens, lawgiver, to argue for moderation, but the wine loosens tongues, and talk turns to Pericles' latest speech. The symposium is a dance of alliances, where words are as sharp as swords, and a misstep could cost your influence. The air is heavy with perfume and the faint smoke of lamps, the room's frescoes glowing in their light. Yet, privilege comes with peril. As an aristocrat, you fund public works, a trireme for the navy, a festival for Athenales. The demos, the common people, turn against you. The memory of Cylon's failed coup, a century ago, lingers. Aristocrats who overreach risk exile or worse. At home, your wife manages the household, her loom humming as she weaves cloth for trade. But her world is separate, confined to the your sons train for war or rhetoric, their futures tied to your name, while your daughters await marriages to seal alliances. The city's pulse is your pulse, but it's a fragile rhythm, easily disrupted by war or scandal. As evening falls, you climb the Acropolis to offer a libation at Athena's altar, the air cool and scented with pine. The Parthenon looms, half-built as marble blocks gleaming under torchlight. You pour wine onto the stone, murmuring a prayer for Athens' prosperity. The city's lights twinkling below. Your life, though gilded, is a balancing act, where power rests on the will of the people and the favor of the gods. The aristocrat's world of marble and wine leads us now to a humbler craft, one that captures the Greek soul in clay and color. From the heights of Athenian power, let your mind drift to a quieter corner of the city, where the air smells of damp clay and charcoal. Imagine yourself in a potter's workshop around 500 BC, where the craft of vase painting transforms earth into art. This is not the world of kings or oracles, but of artisans whose hands shape the stories of gods and heroes, their work destined for homes, temples, and tombs. Picture the workshop's low roof, its walls blackened by kill smoke, as you explore a craft that is both meticulous and timeless. Let its steady rhythm guide you deeper into rest. The workshop sits in the Kerameikos, Athens' potter's quarter, where the clang of hammers and the whir of wheels fill the air. You're an apprentice, learning under a master painter, a man with ink-stained fingers and a squint from years at his trade. The day begins early, as you knead clay dug from Attic riverbeds, its texture cool and gritty. The clay is heavy, smelling of earth and minerals, and you work it until it's smooth, free of pebbles that could crack a vase in the kiln. The master watches, his voice low but firm, correcting your technique with a nod or a grunt. The potter's wheel, a wooden disc, balanced on a stone pivot, spins under your hands. You center the clay, your fingers guiding it into a cylinder, then a graceful curve, a calyx for wine, perhaps, or an amphora for oil. The wheel's hum is hypnotic, the clay yielding like a living thing. Once shaped, the vase dries in the sun, its surface hardening to a pale gray. But the true art lies in painting, a task reserved for skilled hands. You sit at a low table, the air warm with the scent of charcoal from a brazier, and prepare your tools. Brushes of boar hair, pots of black slip made from clay and ash, and a stylus for scratching details. The master hands you a lakythos, a slender vase for funeral oils, its surface smoothed and ready. You dip your brush into the slip, its texture like liquid silk, and begin to paint. The style is black figure, where figures are silhouetted in black against the clay's red. Their details incised with a needle. You trace a scene of Athena, her owl perched beside her, the lines flowing with practiced ease. The air is still, broken only by the soft scratch of your stylus and the distant call of a vendor outside. Each stroke is deliberate, the goddess helmet taking shape, her spear angled just so. Mistakes are costly. A smudged line means hours of work lost. The painting complete, the vase returns to the kiln, a domed oven of brick and clay. Firing is a 3-stage dance, and you tend to fire, feeding it olive wood until the air shimmers with heat. The first stage bakes the vase red, the second, with vents closed, turns it black, and the third restores the clay's natural hue, leaving the slip glossy and dark. The kiln's roar is muffled, but its warmth seeps into the workshop, mingling with the earthy scent of clay. When the vase emerges, cooled and gleaming, it's a small triumph story frozen in time, ready for a symposium or a grave. This craft is more than work. It's a thread in Greece's cultural tapestry. Vases depict myths Heracles wrestling the Nemean lion, Orpheus charming beasts and daily life, from weddings to warriors. They're traded across the Mediterranean, their scenes delighting Etruscans or Persians. As an apprentice, you dream of signing your work, like Exekias or the Amasius painter, whose names echo in the but for now, you learn, your hands growing surer, your eyes sharper, the workshop's rhythm, a quiet comfort. The artisan's craft, humble yet enduring, leads us now to a monument that defines Athens' solar temple of marble and light. From the potter's wheel, let your mind ascend to the Acropolis, Athens' sacred hill, where the Parthenon stands as a testament to human ambition and divine reverence. Around 440 BCE, this temple to Athena, goddess of wisdom, rises in marble splendor, its columns catching the sun like a beacon. Imagine yourself standing at its base, the air warm with the scent of incense and pine, the city sprawling below. The Parthenon is no mere building. It's a symbol of Athens' power, a harmony of stone and spirit. Let its grandeur unfold slowly, a vision to soothe your mind as you rest. The Parthenon's story begins with destruction. In 480 BCE, Persian invaders sacked Athens, burning the old temple on the Acropolis. Picture the city in ruins, its wooden roofs collapsed, its altars defiled. Yet, from this loss, a new vision emerged. Pericles, Athens' statesman, rallied the demos to rebuild, commissioning architects, Ictinus and Callicrates, and sculptor Phidias, to create a temple unmatched in beauty. The air buzzed with purpose as workers, freemen and slaves hauled marble from Mount Pentelicus, its white surface veined with gold in the sunlight. The quarry's dust clung to their skin, the clink of chisels, a constant rhythm. Construction was a feat of precision. Imagine the Acropolis as a worksite, scaffolds of cedar creaking under the weight of stone blocks, each weighing tons. Workers, their tunics damp with sweat, maneuvered the marble with ropes and cranes, the air sharp with the tang of cut stone. The Parthenon's design was revolutionary. 46 Doric columns, each fluted and slightly curved to appear straight, a trick of optics called entasis. The platform, too, curved upward at the center, ensuring rainwater flowed off, a subtle genius invisible to the eye. The builder's tools, bronze chisels, wooden levels lay scattered, their handles worn smooth by calloused hands. Inside, the cellar housed Phidias' masterpiece, a 40-foot statue of Athena, her ivory skin and gold robes gleaming in lamplight. Picture the statue's creation in a nearby workshop, the air thick with the scent of sawdust and molten metal. Artisans carved her face, serene yet commanding, while others hammered gold sheets for her armor. The statue's cost was staggering, funded by Athens' treasury, a point of pride and contention in the cellar's walls, painted with myths, glowed in the dimness, the air heavy with the musk of offerings, oil, honey, and barley left by worshippers. The Parthenon's exterior was a canvas of sculpture. The metopes, 92 panels, depicted battle Greeks versus Amazons, gods versus giants each, carved with lifelike motion. The frieze, a 116-meter ribbon, showed the Panathenaic procession, citizens in flowing robes bearing gifts to Athena. Imagine sculptors perched on scaffolds, their chisels sparking against marble, the air alive with dust and the hum of prayer. The pediments, triangular gables, portrayed Athena's birth and her contest with Poseidon, their figures so vivid they seemed to breathe. The temple's colors red, blue, gold faded with time, but in its prime, it dazzled, a jewel against the Attic sky. For Athenians, the Parthenon was more than a temple. It was a statement. It proclaimed their victory over Persia, their devotion to Athena, and their mastery of art and math. Yet, it was not without critics. Some grumbled at its cost, others at its grandeur in a democracy. Still, it stood, a place of festivals and refuge, its marble warmed by centuries of sun. As you rest, picture its columns at dusk, the last light gilding their edges, the city's heartbeat echoing in their shadow. The Parthenon's majesty fades as we descend to the agora, where the pulse of daily life beats in the clamor of trade. From the sacred heights of the Acropolis, let your mind drift to the Piraeus, Athens' vital port. Around 450 BCE here, where the Aegean meets the land, the air is alive with the salt of the sea and the clamor of commerce. Imagine yourself as a trader, navigating the docks where ships from across the Mediterranean unload their wares. The Piraeus is the lifeblood of Athens, a place of opportunity and risk, where every deal is a gamble against the whims of wind and wave. Let this vibrant scene unfold gently, its rhythm a soothing backdrop to your rest. The Piraeus is a sprawl of wharves and warehouses, its wooden piers weathered by salt and sun. You rise at dawn, the air cool and sharp, and make your way to the docks. Your tunic is simple but clean, a leather belt holding a pouch of silver drachmas, your capital for the day's trades. The port hums with activity. Triremes bob at anchor, their oars stowed, while merchant ships, round-bellied and heavy with cargo, creaked against their moon. The air smells of pitch, fish, and the faint sweetness of wine leaking from a cracked amphora. Sailors shout in a dozen tongues, Greek, Phoenician, Egyptian, while gulls wheel overhead, their cries piercing the din. Your stall, a wooden table under a canvas awning, displays your goods, amphorae of olive oil from your family's groves, their clay stamped with Athena's owl. You've also bartered for Corinthian pottery, its black figure scenes gleaming, and a few bales of Chion wine, its aroma rich, even through sealed jars. The market is a dance of negotiation. A Phoenician captain, his beard oiled, offers cedar from Lebanon, its scent sharp and resinous. You counter with oil and a small collects, your voice steady but warm, knowing a smile seals deals better than a scowl. The exchange is slow, punctuated by sips of watered wine from a shared cup, the liquid cool against the morning's heat. Trading is not without peril. Pirates haunt the Aegean, their swift galleys a shadow on every voyage. Last month, a ship you invested in vanished off Lesbos, its cargo of grain lost. The sea itself is a fickle partner. Storms can shatter a fleet in hours, leaving amphorae to sink into the deep. You scan the horizon, where clouds gather, and mutter a prayer to Poseidon, tossing a coin into the waves as an offering. The docks are also a maze of human risks. A rival trader undercuts your prices, a dockhand pilfers a jar, and the tax collector, a doorman with a wax tablet, demands a cut for Athens' treasury. The air grows warm, the sun climbing, and sweat beads on your brow as you haggle, your voice blending into the port's cacophony. By noon, you pause to eat a loaf of bread, a handful of olives, and a sliver of salted fish, shared with a fellow trader under the awning's shade. The port's rhythm slows briefly, the air heavy with the scent of seaweed and tar. You watch a ship from Rhodes unload marble, its blocks thudding onto the pier, destined for a temple. The Piraeus is Athens' gateway, feeding its hunger for grain, timber, and luxuries. Without it, the city would starve, its democracy a hollow shell. Your role, though small, is vital, each deal a thread in the web of Greek trade. As evening nears, you tally your gains, a profit in silver, a bale of Egyptian linen, and a promise of Cypriot copper. The docks quiet, the air cooling as torches flare along the piers. You head home. The seas murmur a constant companion, your pouch heavier, but your mind lighter. Trading is a life of risk, but also of connection, linking Athens to a wider world. The port's clamor fades as we turn to a different kind of trade, one of words and myths, where a poet's voice carries the soul of Greece. From the Piraeus bustle, let your mind drift to a quieter place, perhaps a village square or a noble's hall around 700 BC, where a poet's voice rises above the flicker of a fire. Here, the Iliad, Homer's epic of war and wrath, weaves a spell over listeners, its verses a bridge to a heroic past. Imagine yourself seated on a wooden bench, the air warm with the scent of burning olive wood, as the bard recounts the tale of Achilles and Troy. This is not just a story, but a mirror of Greek values, a song that lulls the heart as much as it stirs it. Let its cadence guide you deeper into rest. The Iliad begins in a world of gods and mortals, set during the Trojan War, a conflict sparked by Paris' theft of Helen, Queen of Sparta. Picture the bard, his fingers plucking a lyre, his voice steady and rich, as he sings of Achilles, the greatest Greek warrior, whose anger drives the tale. The air is still, the listeners farmers, traders, young boys leaning forward, their faces lit by firelight. The poem's rhythm is deliberate, its hexameter, a pulse that echoes the seas rise and fall. Each line, memorized through generations, carries the weight of tradition, the words as familiar as a prayer. The story unfolds on the plains of Troy, a city of high walls and gleaming towers, its gates flanked by fig trees, heavy with fruit. Achilles, son of a goddess, broods in his tent, his bronze armor stacked beside him, the air thick with the scent of leather and salt. He's quarreled with Agamemnon, the Greek commander, over a captive woman, Briseis, and his pride keeps him from battle. The bard describes the camp, its tents pitched along the shore, the waves lapping at ships drawn up on the sand. The Greeks, weary after 9 years of siege, roast goats over fires, their laughter mingling with the cries of gulls. The scene is vivid, the air alive with the temps of smoke and the distant clang of bronze. As the bard sings, the tale shifts to the battlefield, where heroes clash under a sky ruled by Zeus. Hector, Troy's prince, leads his men, his chariots, wheels churning dust that clouds the air. The Greeks, led by Ajax and Diomedes, form a phalanx, their shields a wall of bronze and hide. The fighting is fierce, a storm of spears and arrows, but the bard's tone remains calm, his words painting a tableau of courage rather than chaos. Lives are lost, their names honored in verse, but the focus is on the human cost: grief, honor, the fleeting nature of glory. The air grows heavy, the listener's eyes distant, as the poet describes Patroclus, Achilles' friend, falling to Hector's spear, his loss a wound that rekindles Achilles' wrath. The Iliad is more than a war story, it's a meditation on mortality. Achilles, invincible yet doomed, chooses a short life of glory over a long one of obscurity. The bard's voice softens as he recounts Achilles' meeting with Priam, Troy's king, who begs for Hector's body. Picture the tent, lit by a single lamp, the air thick with sorrow and respect. The two men, enemies bound by loss, share a meal of bread and wine, their silence a universal language. The scene, tender and human, resonates with the listeners, their own lives shaped by similar bonds and burdens. For the Greeks, the Iliad was a cultural cornerstone, recited at festivals and memorized by schoolboys. Its verses, passed down orally, shaped their sense of heroism and fate. As you rest, imagine the bard's final notes, the lyre falling silent, the fire's embers glowing. The story lingers, a reminder that even in war, humanity endures, its echoes carried on the night's breeze. The poet's song fades, leading us to the quieter lives of those who wove the fabric of Greek society, often unseen but ever present. From the epic's grandeur, let your mind settle into a humbler sphere, the world of ancient Greek women, around 500 BCE, whose lives shaped the heart of every city. Imagine yourself in an Athenian home, its courtyard open to the sky, where women move with purpose, their work a steady rhythm beneath the noise of public life. This is not a world of warriors or poets, but of mothers, weavers, and priestesses, whose influence, though often veiled, was vital. Picture the air warm with the scent of baking bread and rosemary, and let their stories unfold gently, a soothing thread in your journey to rest. In Athens, women's lives are bound by the oikos, the household, a domain of clay walls and woven curtains. Picture a young woman, perhaps 15, newly married to a man twice her age, stepping into her husband's home, her dowry oil cloth, A few silver coins sits in a cedar chest, its lid carved with vines. Her days begin at dawn, the air cool as she lights the hearth, the kindling crackling under her flint. She kneads dough, her hands dusted with flour, and sets it to bake, the oven's warmth filling the room. The household hums, slaves grind barley, children toddle underfoot, and the loom, a wooden frame strung with wool, clacks steadily as she weaves cloth for tunics or trade. The air in the gynecon, the women's quarters, is soft with the scent of lavender and lanolin, the wool's oils clinging to her fingers. Weaving is no mere chore. It's a craft, each thread a choice, each pattern a story. She might weave a scene of Athena's owl, her shuttle darting like a bird, the cloth growing under her touch. Her work will clothe her family or be sold in the agora, its quality a mark of her skill. The loom's rhythm is meditative, a counterpoint to the chatter of his sisters or the laughter of a child playing with a clay doll. These moments, though simple, are the heartbeat of the oikos, a world she rules with quiet authority. Yet her life is constrained. Athenian women rarely leave the home, their faces veiled if they venture to a well or shrine. The agora, with its clamor and deals, is a man's domain. Though her husband brings home tales of debates and wars, she listens, stirring a pot of lentils spiced with thyme, her thoughts, her own. Her role is to manage the household, oversee slaves, budget oil and grain, prepare for festivals. At the Thesmophoria, a women-only rite for Demeter, she joins others in a torchlit procession, the air heavy with incense and the chant of prayers. These moments of freedom, though rare, bind her to her community, their voice is a chorus of shared strength. In Sparta, women's lives differ, shaped by a city that prizes warriors above all. Picture a Spartan woman, her hair unbound, training in a gymnasium, her tunic short as she runs or wrestles. The air is crisp, scented with pine from the Taygetus mountains, and her laughter rings as she outpaces her peers. Spartan women are educated, taught to read and sing, their bodies honed to bear strong sons. They own land, manage estates, while men are at war, and speak boldly, their words sharp as bronze. Yet their freedom is not equality. Their role, too, serves the state. Their lives a balance of power and duty. Grim realities touch women's lives, though we tread lightly here. Childbirth is a peril, the air in the birthing room thick with the scent of herbs and fear, though midwives' chants offer comfort. Many do not survive, their names whispered in mourning. Widows, if wealthy, wield influence, but the poor face hardship, spin in wool for meager coin. Still, women's resilience shines. Priestesses lead rites, mothers teach myths, and their woven cloth sails on ships to distant lands. As you rest, imagine the loom's steady clack, the hearth's glow, the quiet strength of women whose work held Greece together. Their lives, though often unseen, were the foundation of every city, their legacy woven into the fabric of time. The women's quiet strength leads us now to a moment of clash and courage, where Athens faced its greatest test. From the hearth's warmth, let your mind drift to the plains of Marathon, for 90 BCE, where Athens stood against the might of Persia. Imagine yourself among the hoplites, the citizen soldiers of Athens, your shield heavy on your arm, the air sharp with the scent of grass and fear. The Battle of Marathon was a turning point, a clash that shaped Greece's destiny, yet its story is one of human resolve, not just of steel. Picture the dawn breaking over the bay, the sea glinting like polished bronze, and let this tale unfold gently, its rhythm a steady guide to rest. The Persian Empire, under Darius I, sought to punish Athens for aiding Ionian rebels. Their fleet, a forest of masts, anchored off Marathon, 26 miles from Athens. Picture the Persian camp, its tents stretching across the plain, the air alive with the neigh of horses and the chatter of 1,000 tongues Medes, Persians, conscripts from distant lands. The Greeks, led by Miltiades, numbered only 10,000, joined by a small Plataean force. You stand among them, a farmer-turned-soldier, your bronze cuirass tight against your chest, your spears, ash shafts smooth in your grip. The hoplites form a phalanx, shields overlapping, the air warm with the musk of leather and sweat. The plain of Marathon is flat, fringed by marshes and hills, the air heavy with the scent of wild fennel and salt. For days, the armies face each other, neither moving, the tension a weight on every heart. The Greeks wait, knowing their city lies vulnerable. At night, By flickering campfires, you share bread and olives, the stars bright above, and listen to veterans recount tales of past wars. The generals debate attack or hold, until Miltiades, his voice calm, urges a bold strike. The decision is made at dawn, the air cool as you tighten your greaves and mutter a prayer to Ares. The battle begins with a charge, a rarity for hoplites, who usually advance slowly. Picture the phalanx running a mile across the plain, their bronze armor glinting, the ground trembling under their sandals. The air fills with dust, the shouts of men, and the twang of Persian bows. Arrows fall like rain, but your shield, heavy with oak and bronze, holds firm. The Greek center weakens, planned by Miltiades drawing Persians in, while the wings, strong and swift, encircle them. You thrust your spear, the phalanx a living wall, the air thick with the chaos of clashing metal and muffled cries. The Persians, caught in the trap, falter, their wicker shields splinter, their ranks break, and they flee to their ships, pursued to the shore. The marshes swallow some, the sea others, as the Greeks strike until the tide turns red. By noon, the plain is still, a field of fallen warriors, their armor glinting in the sun. The Greeks lose 192 men, a number etched in memory, while thousands of Persians lie uncounted, their defeat a blow to direst pride. You stand, breathless, the air heavy with dust and the faint metallic tang of sacrifice, as Miltiades orders a march to Athens, fearing a Persian landing. The victory at Marathon is more than a battle, it's a spark. It proves Athens can defy an empire, fueling the spirit that will face Xerxes a decade later. A runner, perhaps Philippides, races to Athens, his cry of "We have won" echoing before he collapses, a legend born. As you rest, imagine the plain at dusk. The seas murmur a lullaby, the hoplite shield stacked in quiet triumph. The battlefield's echo fades, leading us to a different struggle, one of body and spirit, where Greeks sought to heal and understand. From Marathon's clash, let your mind drift to a quieter place, a sanctuary of healing on the island of Kos, around 400 BCE here. In the shade of plane trees, the physician Hippocrates and his followers practiced the art of medicine, blending reason with ritual. Imagine yourself in an Asclepieion, a healing temple, the air warm with the scent of lavender and myrrh, where the sick seek solace. This is a world of balance and observation, where health is a harmony of body and cosmos. Let its gentle wisdom unfold, a soothing balm for your rest. The Asclepieion is a haven, its marble steps, worn smooth by pilgrims' feet. Picture the temple's courtyard, where patients rest on pallets, the air alive with the hum of bees and the trickle of a sacred spring. You're a student of Hippocrates, a man whose name will echo through time, his teachings rooted in observation, not myth. The master, his beard grey, walks among the sick, his voice calm as he questions their symptoms. The air smells of crushed herbs, mint, chamomile, fennel mixed, with the faint temps of vinegar used to clean wounds. Your role is to learn, to watch, to grind remedies in a mortar, its stone cool under your hands. Hippocratic medicine is a revolution, a shift from blaming gods to seeking causes. The body, Hippocrates teaches, is ruled by four humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile, whose balance is health, whose discord is disease. Picture a patient, a farmer with a fever, lying in the shade. You palpate his brow, note his flushed skin, and consult the master. He prescribes a diet: barley gruel, no wine under poultice, of willow bark, its bitterness sharp in the air. The treatment is gentle, the air calm with the chant of priests, invoking Asclepius, god of healing, whose snakes slither through dreams, offering omens. The air in the Asclepieion is heavy with ritual, too. Patients offer honey cakes at Asclepius' altar, their prayers mingling with the scent of burning myrrh. Some sleep in the abaton, a sacred dormitory, hoping for a divine vision to guide their cure. You record their dreams on wax tablets. The stylist scratches soft counterpoint to their murmurs. Hippocrates respects these rites, but insists on reason. A fever is not a curse, but a sign of imbalance. He teaches you to observe the seasons, the winds, the patient's habits. A north wind, dry and cold, might worsen a cough. A diet too rich in meat could inflame the bile. The air shifts, a breeze carrying the scent of pine. As you listen, your mind sharpening. Grim realities exist, though we tread lightly. Surgery, when needed, is a last resort trepanning a skull to relieve pressure, or setting a broken bone with splints. The patient's cries are muffled by wine and poppy, the air thick with the scent of blood, but the focus is on recovery, not pain. Many ailments, fevers, dysentery claim lives, their loss a quiet sorrow in the temple's halls. Yet Hippocrates' oath, sworn by his students, binds you to do no harm, to treat all equally. Its words a solemn rhythm in your heart. The legacy of Hippocrates is a new way of seeing, a science born in observation. As you rest, imagine the Asclepian at dusk. The springs trickle a lullaby. The patient's breaths easing as sleep claims them. Healing, like life, is a balance, a quiet dance of body and soul. The healer's art leads us now to a place of mystery, where the gods speak through the whispers of nature. From the Asclepian's calm, let your mind wander to the remote hills of Epirus, where the oracle of Dodona, ancient even in Greek times, speaks through the rustle of sacred oaks. Around 500 BCE, this sanctuary, older than Delphi, draws pilgrims seeking the will of Zeus. Imagine yourself in the grove, the air cool with the scent of moss and resin, the trees' branches swaying as if alive with divine breath. The oracle's mystery, half lost to time, is a puzzle of faith and nature, its whispers a soothing enigma for your rest. Dodona lies in a valley, its sanctuary simple as circle of oaks, their roots deep in rocky soil, surrounded by a low stone wall. Picture the grove at dawn, mist curling around the trunks, the air alive with the chirp of sparrows and the distant bleat of goats. Pilgrims, their cloaks damp with dew, approach with offerings, bronze tripods, clay figurines, their clink echoing as they're hung on branches. You're a visitor, perhaps a farmer seeking guidance on a drought, your hands clutching a lead tablet inscribed with your question. The air feels charged, the oak's leaves shimmering in the first light, as if Zeus himself listens. The oracle's priests, the Soloi, are unlike Delphi's polished Pythi. They are barefoot, sleeping on the ground, their beards tangled, their tunics plain. Legend says they hear Zeus in the oak's rustle, the wind's sigh, or the coo of doves nested in the branches. Picture them circling the grove, their voices low, chanting as they interpret the leaves' movement. The air smells of earth and sacrifice, a ram's blood offered at a stone altar, its smoke curling skyward. You hand your tablet to a priest, its surface scratched with your plea, "Will my crops thrive?" He ties it to a branch, the metal glinting, and bids you wait. The process is slow, the air still but for the tree's soft creak. Some say the priests read patterns in the leaves' fall, others that they listen to the wind's pitch. Its notes a divine code. Skeptics whisper of trickery, priests shaking branches or inventing answers, but the pilgrim's faith is unshaken. The air grows warm, the sun climbing, and the priest returns. His words cryptic: trust the rain, honor the earth. You ponder this, the oak's shade cool on your skin, the grove's rhythm a quiet comfort. The answer is vague, yet it guides you, a seed of hope for the season ahead. Dodona's origins are murky, its rite older than Greece itself, perhaps tied to Pelasgian tribes or Anatolian cults. The air carries echoes of Homer, who sang of Dodona in the Iliad, and Herodotus, who wrote of Egyptian influences. The sanctuary's simplicity lacking Delphi's. Was it a place of pure faith, or a clever blend of nature and human insight? Excavations reveal tripods and tablets, but the oak's voices are silent now, their secrets carried away by centuries of wind. As you rest, imagine the grove at dusk, the leaves rustle a lullaby, the pilgrim's prayers fading into the night. Dodona's oracle, though lost, reminds us of a time when the divine spoke through the world's quiet corners. Its mystery, a gentle echo in your dreams. The oracle's whispers fade, leading us to a celebration where gods and mortals meet in joy and reverence. From Dodona's sacred grove, let your mind drift to the streets of Athens, around 450 BCE, where the great Dionysia festival honors Dionysus, god of wine, theater, and revelry. Imagine yourself in the city, the air warm with the scent of grapevines and roasting meat, as crowds gather to celebrate. This is a time of music, sacrifice, and shared joy, a moment when the divine feels near. Yet the rhythm remains human, grounded in community. Picture the torchlit streets, alive with color and sound, and let this festival unfold gently, a soothing celebration for your rest. The Dionysia begins with a procession, the air buzzing with anticipation as dawn breaks over the Acropolis. You join the throng, your tunic dyed saffron for the occasion, a wreath of ivy crowning your head, its leaves cool against your brow. The streets are packed, farmers, merchants, women, even slaves united in devotion. A massive statue of Dionysus, carved in wood and draped in purple, leads the way, carried by priests on a cart. The air smells of crushed grapes and myrrh, the statue's cart creaking as it rolls toward the theatre of Dionysus, nestled at the Acropolis base. The procession is a tapestry of sound and color. Young men, their faces flushed with wine, sing dithyrambs, hymns to Dionysus, their voices rising over the beat of drums. Girls scatter rose petals, their laughter mingling with the clink of bronze coins tossed as offerings. Oxen garlanded with flowers low as they're led to the altar, their sacrifice a solemn act to honor the god. The air grows heavy with the scent of blood and smoke, but the moment is brief, the focus on the feast to come. You help carve the meat, its juices sizzling on communal fires, and share portions with strangers, the act binding the city as one. The festival's heart is the theater, a stone amphitheater where tragedies and comedies unfold. Picture yourself seated on a limestone bench, the air warm as the sun climbs, watching Aeschylus' latest play. The actors, masked and robed, recite tales of gods and heroes, their voices carrying across the tiered seats. The chorus, chanting in unison, moves like a wave, their song a rhythm that lulls the crowd. The air smells of dust and wine, spilled from cups passed among friends. The plays, though profound, are not jarring. Their themes fey hubris, redemption sink into the mind like a gentle tide, stirring thought without breaking the festival's calm. By evening, the streets glow with torches, the air alive with music and dance. You join a komos, a heavy-was parody twirling with others to the wail of flutes. The wine, tart and strong, warms your limbs, but the mood is joyful, not wild. The city's unity, a quiet strength. Women, usually cloistered, dance too, their veils loosened, their laughter a rare gift. The air grows cool, the stars bright as the festival winds down, the last hymns fading into the night. The Dionysia is more than revelry, it's a renewal, a moment when Athens breathes as one, honoring a god who blurs the line between mortal and divine. As you rest, imagine the theater's final applause. The torches glow, the city settling into a contented hush, its joy a lullaby for your dreams. The festival's joy fades, leading us to a darker chapter, where Greece faced its own divisions in a war that shook its core. From the Dionysia's revels, let your mind drift to a graver time, the late 5th century BCE, when the Peloponnesian War tore Greece apart. Imagine yourself in Athens, around 404 BC, the air heavy with the scent of smoke and fear, as the city faces defeat. This war, pitting Athens against Sparta, was a tragedy of ambition and division, its scars reshaping the Greek world. Picture the walls of Athens, once proud, now battered, and let this somber tale unfold gently, its weight a quiet reflection for your rest. The war began in 431 BCE, a clash of ideals. Athens' naval empire versus Sparta's land-based alliance. Picture the early years, when Athens, led by thrived behind its long walls, a stone corridor linking the city to the Piraeus. The air then was tense but hopeful, the agora buzzing with plans for victory. You're a citizen, perhaps a rower in the fleet, your hands calloused from oars, the sea's salt stinging your skin. The triremes, sleek and swift, patrol the Aegean, their prows cutting waves like knives. The air smells of pitch and sweat. The rowers chant a steady rhythm under the sun, but war's toll mounts. Sparta's armies ravage Atticus' farms, burning olive groves until the air chokes with ash. You see the smoke from the city, the groves you once worked, reduced to stumps. Plague strikes in 430 BCE, a shadow that creeps through Athens' crowded streets. The air grows foul, the sick coughing in alleys, their numbers too great for pyres. Thousands perish, including Pericles, his vision of victory fading. The war grinds on, a rhythm of raids and stalemates, the air heavy with the weight of loss. You rode to Sicily in 415 BCE, part of a grand expedition, only to hear of its failure. Ships sunk, men lost, the sea claiming Athens' hopes. By 404 BCE, Sparta, aided by Persia, tightens its grip. Picture the Piraeus blockaded, its docks silent, the air still but for the creak of enemy ships. Hunger gnaws at Athens, the Agora stalls empty, the air thick with the scent of unwashed bodies and despair. You stand on the walls, your spear heavy, as Lysander, Sparta's admiral, demands surrender. The long walls are torn down, their stones crumbling to dust, the air alive with the sound of hammers and wails. Athens capitulates, its democracy dismantled, a puppet regime installed. The war's end is a quiet ruin, the city's spirit broken, its pride a memory. The Peloponnesian War's legacy is a fractured Greece, its city-states weakened, ripe for Macedonian conquest. Yet, it also birthed history itself, Thucydides' Chronicle, a sober record of human folly. As you rest, imagine Athens at dusk, its walls breached, but its spirit enduring. The seas murmur a faint promise of renewal. The war's shadow fades, leading us to a final reflection, where Greece's past meets our present in quiet harmony. From the war's ruin, let your mind drift across centuries, from ancient Greece to the world you know, where the echoes of that distant land still resonate. Imagine yourself standing on a modern Athenian street, the Acropolis looming above, its marble softened by time. The air is warm, scented with coffee and jasmine, a blend of past and present. This is a moment to reflect on how Greece's ideas, struggles, and arts shape our lives, a gentle thread tying then to now. Let this final tale unfold, a soothing close to your journey through history. The Greece we've explored, its olive pressers, warriors, poets, and healers, was a crucible of ideas. Picture the Agora, where Socrates once questioned truth, his words a spark that lit philosophy. The air then was alive with debate, the clink of coins, the hum of democracy's birth. That democracy, flawed yet bold, lives in our parliaments and ballots, its rhythm a distant echo of Athens' assembly. You vote today, your choice a nod to those who gathered on the Pnyx, their voices shaping a city's fate. The Parthenon, though scarred, stands as a symbol of arts, and its columns, copied in courthouses and museums, carry the Greek love of balanced proportion in stone, harmony in thought. Picture a modern architect, her blueprints inspired by Actinus, the air cool in her office as she sketches a building that owes its lines to Athens. The Iliad, too, lives on, its tales of honor and loss retold in novels, films, and classrooms. The air in a library, where a student reads Homer, smells of paper and ink, but its spirit is the same as that ancient hearth where bards sang. Science, born in Hippocrates' observations, thrives in our hospitals, where doctors swear a modern oath, its words rooted in Kos. The Antikythera mechanism, a whisper of Greek ingenuity, finds kin in our computers, their circuits humming like those ancient gears. Even the Dionysius joy lives in our theaters, where actors, unmasked but inspired, perform under electric lights, the air alive with applause. The struggles of Greece, war, plague, division mirror our own, their lessons a quiet guide. The olive presser's toil, the woman's weave, the hoplite's stand remind us of resilience, of lives that built a world. As you rest, picture modern Athens at night, its streets glowing, the Acropolis a sentinel above. The past is not gone, it lingers in our laws, our stories, our dreams, a gentle rhythm that carries you to sleep. And so, our journey through ancient Greece draws to a close, its stories of toil, courage, and wonder settling like dust after a long day. From the olive groves to the Parthenon's marble, from the battlefield to the poet's fire, we've walked a world both distant and familiar. Its rhythm, a quiet lullaby for your mind. The Greeks, with their dreams and struggles, built a legacy that touches us still, a bridge across time that holds fast in the night's embrace. As you lie here, safe in the comfort of now, let the weight of the past slip away. The olive presser's labor, the warrior's stand, the oracle's whisper there but echoes, soft and fading, leaving only peace. The sea still laps at Greece's shores, its waves a constant song, and you can drift with them, carried gently toward sleep. Thank you for joining us at Boring History for Sleep. May your dreams be as calm as the Aegean under a starlit sky, and may you wake refreshed, the past a quiet companion in your heart.